Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Strive Show, and today we're talking about nervous system dysregulation. What is it and what does it mean to you?
Welcome to the Strive Show. I'm Dr. Jake Grinaker, and together with the amazing doctors at Strive Chiropractic, our phenomenal team, and some extraordinary guests along the way, we will be in the pursuit of truth in all things health, life, and family. We believe you not only can handle the truth, you deserve it. Enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We want to talk this week about a buzzword that's really we're hearing a ton about, and it's this nervous system dysregulation. And the fact of the matter is, I love that it's a buzzword right now. It's something that we love talking about, we've talked about for years, but this word and this dysregulation, nervous system dysregulation, we just want to unpack a little bit about what is it, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we deal with on a daily basis in here with our patients, and you know, it's like you said, like, nice that it's kind of coming to the forefront and got this little buzzword, and it kind of helps us touch on, you know, a big part of why we do what we do.
Yeah. So basically, look at our nervous system. There's two parts to it. There's the sympathetic, which is the fight or flight response, and then there's the parasympathetic, which is kind of the rest, digest part. And what happens when we get this dysregulation, it's just those two systems of our body get out of sync.
Yep. I think, like, we often talk about, like, they should be on a teeter-totter, right? Like, you want them both to be working as best they can, and you don't want to get stuck in one or the other. That's where that dysregulation kind of happens.
So really, when we see that, there's really two directions it goes when we see that nervous system dysregulation, those kind of things. It's that the system gets like hyper-aroused or stuck on. Or the hypo, and that rest of the digestive system takes over.
Like when you get stuck in that hyper, where that sympathetic nervous system kicks in, like you're kind of on high alert. Right? Your body has a really hard time of kind of like relaxing and just calming down, and you're stuck in this fight or flight response, and your body responds accordingly, and generally it's not how you want it to respond when you get stuck that way.
So in that high, like Brian was talking about, the things we generally experience with that are chronically tight muscles. Like you think about everything is really stuck that way. High anxiety, not sleeping, you know, kind of that, everything you think of is just really ramped up in there is what we're seeing.
You're just stuck in that, just like you said, it's just like, you know, it's, you know, your increased stress, your anxiety, you're not sleeping well, and it's just overall this doesn't help your body at all. Right?
And I think, and I'm guilty of this too, is that we end up talking about that one way more.
For sure.
We end up talking 100%. About this fight or flight response, the, you know, high pain, high muscle tension, high anxiety, you know, just not sleeping, this ramp up. We talk about that one way more.
For sure.
But what can really happen is that hypo, and where that parasympathetic system like has to overcompensate, and the body becomes extremely sluggish, and that's one that is another huge part of that nervous system dysregulation too.
When you're kind of feel like you're stuck in that funk or that fog, you know, you just kind of, you know, a little bit down. You know, that's where that parasympathetic is kind of overstimulated, and you just have trouble like kind of getting yourself, you know, out of that funk.
So we look at that more of like depression, extreme fatigue, kind of that like just like you look at digestion, you being very sluggish, you know, that kind of thing. It's almost like, you know, when you look at it, just digestion, for example, the example of high is we look at like diarrhea, we look at hyperactive, irritable bowel. We flip to that other side, it's constipation, it's bloating. You know, it's the same, it's the two sides of that teeter-totter.
For sure, and that's just like you said, like, and you want those like to be able to work, you know, like a teeter-totter and kick in when we need them to kick in. You know, if you eat something or something like that, you don't want that feeling of bloating or that feeling of, you know, diarrhea or whatever. You need that you know, one of those systems to kick in like they're supposed to.
Or in the cognitive, you look at, okay, maybe it's on anxiety and racing thoughts, but then it becomes brain fog. Like you just like inability to concentrate. Like it's just kind of that reverse side of that. So and if you're watching, you're probably thinking to yourself, and like, man, we tend to fall in one or these or the other. Like, man, I really feel this high arousal, like that anxiety, pain, whatever, or man, you really describe me in that hypo. They're both problems of this dysregulated nervous system. We just tend to fall in one or the other.
Exactly. You know, you even like go back to the, you know, the sympathetic part of it, you know, like laying in bed, like racing thoughts, can't get your brain to shut off. that's kind of another example of some of that stuff that goes on too.
Yeah. So things you can do about it. If you find yourself stuck in one of these or the other, I mean, there's some great ones. The great thing about the internet now is, you can Google or chat GPT your way through a lot of this, but it's a lot that involves, really deep breathing, if finding kind of a grounded, deep breathing, getting yourself out of it, getting really consistent sleep, trying to disconnect from, technology, still the stuff that we talked about last week. Like there is a lot of those things that we can do, which are very, very important.
Absolutely. Like one of the things that I've taught, my patients and even my own kids is like box breathing, right? And if you just Google box breathing, like it just tells you how to kind of, when you're stuck in that fight or flight state, that box breathing helps to kind of kick in that parasympathetic and kind of down regulate you a little bit.
I love that. Yeah, and for those that aren't familiar, box breathing is like a 2-second inhale, 2-second hold, 2-second exhale, 2-second hold. So it's just kind of this idea of you're just taking really conscious breathing that's kind of kicking you out of that. And all these things are amazing tools to have at home, and you should have all these in your toolbox. Make sure you do some research on it and have those. But at the same time, if your nervous system is stuck and locked and fixated, we need to flip that breaker back on here.
For sure.
And you maybe do all the box breathing in the world, and you're still noticing, man, I'm sleeping like crap, and high anxiety, and all this kind of stuff.
Can't shut my brain off.
Yeah, we need to help that, and that's what we're here for.
Absolutely. It's come in, get checked. We can do the scans, and the really great thing about our scans is it shows like where those areas of dysfunction are, and we can help the patient like relate those to these sympathetic, parasympathetic, how all that works. And the other cool thing is when a lot of times you'll have patients that'll come in. We'll have patients that'll come in with some sort of physical symptoms. But they also check these anxiety fatigue boxes. And when you do the scans, you're able to show like, well, that's why you're having some of this other stuff because of what's going on in these areas.
Yeah. And the scans Brian was talking about are so crucial in seeing that. And we also have that heart rate variability scan where we can see if the body is stuck. Are you more of the sympathetic dominant? Are you more of the sympathetic, parasympathetic overcompensation? Like where do you fall in that? And where's your battery? And we can track it over time to see if that's improving and what you're doing. So it's a really key aspect to be able to do that. But just want everybody's intended to go up when you hear about this regulated nervous system. I need to regulate my nervous system. I have a dysregulated nervous system. It's becoming very buzzworthy on social media, which is great. I'm glad there's awareness coming to it, but we wanted to really impact what it means and more importantly, what you can do about it.
Absolutely. Like it's certainly in our wheelhouse, right? I mean, it's something that we deal with every day, and to understand like why it's so important and what it means, is why we bring this stuff to you today, so that you can kind of understand that a little bit.
Yeah. No, I love it. So if you have any more questions about this, or maybe there was something you're like, man, what about this or what about that? Please reach out, comment on the video, whatever you need to do to get in touch with us, text us, call us, email us, whatever it is, so we can answer those questions for you to help you start moving out of this. We're here for you.
Absolutely. And like, we've been talking about, like, if you feel like you're kind of in that funk or you feel like you're in, brain fog or whatever, like come in, just get checked.
Just get checked.
Check you out.
Yeah, I love it. And if you go to justgetchecked.com, you can schedule right there. It'll take you right to our scheduling link. So, but appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope this helped you guys. If it's a loved one, share the video with them. We'd be honored. And we'll see you back here next week on another episode of The Strive Show.
Thanks for tuning into The Strive Show. Whether you are watching us on YouTube or listening to the podcast on your favorite platform, make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you found value in today's episode, please share it with a loved one. We would be honored. Thanks and have a fantastic week.